It is chaotic out there, and the reason that everybody is jousting for the lead of the race, John, is because we have points awarded for the most laps led. 10 bonus points have already been given to our pole sitter, Gresham Wagner, for winning the pole position, but you get 10 more points for the fastest lap and 10 more points for the most laps led.
As a son of a serving police officer now departed, I love that initiative, and given current events as well, that is a very, very sound way to be looking at your social responsibility in motor racing. Wagner, Pardis, Carter, Roland, Thomas, Nunes, Pally, Ortiz, Piscatel. That's how they started, and they are out again across the line. Look at the line of Mazda MX-5s. This, get used to this, ladies and gentlemen. This is absolutely fantastic stuff. The battle for second place with a 0.8 of Carter just ahead of this. So this is the battle for third, in fact, down into the braking area. This is magnificent stuff. Loving to watch this throughout of the bus stop. Number 4, the Copeland Motorsport of Brian Ortiz and Bella Racing right in the mix. 0.8 there. Michael Carter for Carter Racing Enterprises. The Hickson Motors. There has been, we have to talk about this year, there has been a special edict from the organisers here and in the driver briefing about contact on the banking and about effectively bump drafting as they go round. And then there's a little mistake there by the 0.8 of Michael Carter. He's, I think, going to lose it at least one, maybe two positions here. He stays to the right hand side and he goes down into the International Horseshoe, but the race director does not want to see overt contact on the high banks.
Yeah, for safety reasons, intentional contact or sustained will not be allowed at the entirety of the event this whole weekend. One of the weekend reasons is that they're trying to avoid a major incident on the banking, but issued this morning, the penalties have been passed down. If you receive one offense, you receive a 1 second penalty added post-race to your time. Your second offense is a 5-second penalty on top of that, and your third offense is a drive-through. So race control is taking no chances with this, but we have already had a penalty called in this race. A false start was awarded to Drake Kemper, who is one of the Precision Motorsports drivers, and Provision have 2 cars in the field, the second of which is Aaron Johnson. So this actually hurts their duo because now they're going to have to work separately. We've got a change for the lead of the race on the track as well, as that is the 42 going back to the lead. So Preston Pardis now ahead of Selin Rowland, who came to a stop at that area on the track in practice yesterday afternoon. So good to see that the 89 has fully recovered. In third place now, it's Jared Thomas, the Rookie of the Year champion last year, looking to try and do one better by taking home the overall championship this year, which awards $250,000 worth of a scholarship.
Apologies for those of you who are trying to watch in the UK. Not sure why you can't see the pictures at the moment, but we'll get onto that for you. This is meant to be unblocked and without brakes. There's the 98 car going slowly. This is the Lemons of Love. This is a great story for Derek Ware, for Hickson Motorsports. Lemons of Love, the car's got a left front puncture. Lemons of Love, if you don't know, look it up on the look it up on the internet. They provide, I don't know how to call it, care packages. Lovely things for people who are in chemotherapy and having to look after themselves going through chemotherapy. It's been going for quite a while, and one of the things they do to raise money is to have a sweepstake for a car. For the last few years, it's been an MX-5. It's a perfect fit for this. Meantime, heading out onto the banking once again, Shea. This is absolutely fantastic stuff. Heading up the high banking again. And we've got another 37 minutes of this.
Yeah, it's just awesome, isn't it? And if you're trackside, if you happen to be lucky enough to be trackside, you might notice that the cars sound a little bit louder than normal. When they were testing the cars, Cliff's Performance, who builds the cars, and by the way, just 5 miles up the road from Daytona International Speedway, they found that there was a slight problem with the exhaust and how it was working at Daytona. So they removed the muffler and fixed a shorter pipe that now points straight downwards. So the cars, which always sound great, now sound just a little bit better.
I remember many years ago watching what was then Formula Mazda race at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and I've got a feeling we're going to see the same kind of drafting here as we come round with groups of cars who are nose to tail and then fan out into the braking area to turn one. And this is exactly what's happening again across the line. Wagner, Pardus, Carter, Roland, Thomas, Nunes, Parley, Ortiz and Piscatel as they go through. But frankly, anybody makes a mistake, then they've got a 6-speed sequential SADEV gearbox, which is new since the last time that you and I, Shea, watched this, and a round has gone. That looks like the 59. That's Hernandez, I think, from Guatemala Racing. Yes, it is, in the white car. He's recovered on the infield. The sequential gearbox means push the stick forward to shift down, pull it back to go back. But these cars still, Shea, need to be driven.
Very much so. It is a slight step away from the H-pattern gearbox, but it's still the sort of situation where you got to take your hand off the wheel. So you do have to have that one-handed car control that we love from MX-5 racing. You just see the tails sliding out naturally as the drivers are trying to regain control. But this breakaway that we've got at the front is really interesting to me because we've got 2 Hickson Motorsport cars in Pardus and Roland working together. And then right behind them, the JTR Motorsport car solo of Jared Thomas, his teammate further back in the field. And then Carter Racing, the solo entry for the season of that team car, our defending champion. We've got a lot of different aspects going on here, but the Hickson Motorsport cars have not been able to work together to pull away from the other two. They're just pulling them along.
Again, 4 cars in the space of probably 3 3/4 cars. Let's be honest, if you're on the street like that at the moment, you'd be getting looked at. Preston Pardus then for Hickson Motorsport in that black and white MX-5 leads them to the tri-oval. Can he hold on to that? Roland, Thomas, Carter, Pally, Nunes, Ortiz, Wagner, Mars, Palamo, your top 10. Now here's the opportunity round the outside, further back in the field for our pole sitter. That's Wagner, the number 5 car, trying to go around the outside. I'm not sure he's going to get that done, and in fact, he might lose a position to Nunes. In fact, I think he does that. Oh, they're still jockeying for position down at the international horseshoe at the middle part of the infield. Oh, Shea, I have missed this racing so much.
Oh, me too. It's like a worn pair of shoes that you put on that you haven't worn for a long time, and it still just fits perfectly. I'm not at all surprised to see that Gresham Wagner is impatient with trying to get past everyone else. He is the fastest car on the track. He currently has the fastest lap time, worth 10 points, remember, as he's fighting his way back up. He was our pole sitter. We know that car is super fast, and he knows how to race, too. He's been through this championship before last year, had the most laps led last year, but didn't come home in the top 3 of the championship.
Hickson, JTR, Carter, McCumbee, JTR, Spark, Copeland, Slipstream, Copeland for your top 10. Only 5.4 seconds between the top 10, but the action is at the front of the field. Oh my goodness, how close is that? You couldn't get, I don't think you get an exercise book between those. Setting sun at Daytona International Speedway. Beautiful evening clear skies, and Mazda MX-5 racing in the first round of the Idemitsu 2021 Mazda MX-5 Cup, presented by BF Goodrich Tyres. These cars all started as street cars, let's not forget, from Hiroshima in Japan to actually just a few miles down the road. And Troy and Todd Fliss, the first thing they do is take them all apart. I am not kidding you. They take them all apart. They take out all the sound deadening, all the bits and pieces on the seams, and then they strip them back to the shell, and then they add over 250 race-specific parts, including the gearbox, parts of the diff, the cooling, and of course all the safety equipment. Also give them a little bit of power boost as well, although frankly I've driven an ND on the road. In fact, I was fortunate enough to have driven all of the Mazda MX-5 variants last year, thanks to Mazda UK. Owen Mildenhall, I know, will be watching and listening to this right now, and you can't pick a favourite from any one of them. They've all got their own, they all have their own personality and character, and this current ND version of the MX-5 absolutely fulfills the sports car mentality that is in every single Mazda. Great battle going on further back down the field for 12th on down, the 43. That's the Atanasio Copeland Motorsport car, then Justin Piscatel, then Cook, Williams, Atwater, they're all there as well, and they're battling just outside the top 10. Share, Adam.
There's been quite a bit of contact between those leading pair, though. The Hickson Motorsport teammates might be drawing the attention of race control, as Selen Rowland has been connected with the rear bumper of Preston Pardus quite a bit coming into the bus stop. I was just seeing it. And then also as they come through the tri-oval, there has been a few moments of green and gray paint on the back of that beautiful black and white police livery paint. But the car that everyone needs to be watching out for in the field right now is Gresham Wagner, that number 5 machine, purple lap time around the last time. And now he's gone overall fastest through sector 1 once again. Gresham wants to be in that leading pack.
How are they going to keep their concentration for another half an hour? I'm not entirely certain. Down towards the braking area for turn 1, a fabulous battle just outside the top 10. Into the first corner, 24, Jetson, the Provision Motorsport car. Oh, what a dive down the inside there. Just did not didn't quite get through in the evening sunshine, sitting in behind the Copeland Motorsport number 41 car. I am loving this 2-bit shirt.
I actually spoke yesterday with Aaron Johnson just after he had his first ever running in one of these cars on the high banks of Daytona, and asked him why he went with the Provision team. He said he tested with a couple different teams, but ultimately it was the feeling of the group of people that made it feel like a family. He said, for example, normally people, when they get a Global MX-5 Cup car, they wrap it, they don't paint the car. Nah, they painted his Soul Red number 24 machine. And the youngster out of Sulphur, Louisiana, who's recently moved to Indy, says that this is exactly the kind of family he was looking for.
Looks so good in that dark red. That says, I think it's something like 65% of Mazdas worldwide are ordered in Soul Red or Soul Red Crystal. It is just the Mazda colour. Meantime, the police are getting a little bit of hassle from behind at the moment. That is the number 42, and Preston Pardus for Hickson Motorsport knows he doesn't have to look in his mirrors, because right behind him the number 87 is there, and probably just feeling the odd little bump from Selen Rowland for Hickson Motorsports. Believe it or not, they are teammates. Doesn't look much like it at the moment. The silver car with the red stripes in third position is that of the number 96 of Jared Thomas in the Lemons of Love. Another one of the Lemons of Love. Meantime, drafting down through the tri-oval for the positions down towards the end of the top 10. That's magnificent stuff. 1, 2, 3 wide into turn 1, Shea.
Yeah, Aaron Johnson actually gets stuck out on the outside a little bit. He's dropping a couple of places, but he'll be able to work his way back up through there in no time, as it's Brian Ortiz, I believe, who's starting to get involved in all of this as well in the number 4 machine. There wasn't supposed to be any drafting or bump drafting allowed in this race, but goodness, there's a lot of paint sharing going on. And at the head of the field, it's still Preston Pardis and Selin Rowland going back and forth. And I have been reliably informed that they are not only teammates, but best friends, or BFFs, if we're going to be technical about it.
Well, for the moment, that might not last this race, never mind the rest of the season. In fact, might not last the rest of the weekend, to be quite honest. Leading quartet out onto the high banks of Daytona with still 26 minutes, wherever you are in the world, tuning in live to this broadcast of the Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Cup for 2021, presented by BF Goodrich Tyres. This is exactly what we love to see. The top 4, Shea takes a big breath. Imagine what it's like sitting in one of these cars at the moment as Pardis breaks for nice bit of driving into the bus stop, and the leader Preston Pardis just gets a little bit, and we're talking about half a car's length, maybe 3/4, but that's quite a benefit as he went in there further down the field. The battles continue for 9th, 10th and 11th. That's the 2 Copeland black and red cars, and right in behind that is the Provision Motorsport LLC car. It's a blue car. This is magnificent stuff, Shea. Wherever you look, there's battles going on.
Entirety of the racetrack. Leading the way is the number 41 of Mars. He's a youngster out of go-karting. Well, he's learning pretty quickly what it's like to drive in a car with doors and bumpers on it. We have those 2 Copeland cars together, Joey Atanasio and, of course, Aaron Johnson still in there too. And the 89 of Justin Piscatel just sitting back a little bit, the veteran racer. He knows how these things end. He's letting it all shake out in front of him.
I'm loving the time of day we're racing here. Coming up on 20 past, in fact just on 20 past 5 at Daytona. The sun just beginning to sink. We've got almost that golden hour light on the infield area. Parts of the banking in shadow, of course. And the racing is absolutely outstanding. The liveries look fantastic. And once again, a bit of bump drafting between the leaders, Pardis, Rowland, Thomas now. Well, I was about to say car lengths back, but you can only say that for a moment. It's a snapshot. It's a fraction of time as they come through the bus stop again on lap number 10. And again, that was a bit heavier contact there from second place to first, and that's going to be starting to be looked at for Seth Roland, the man from Orlando, Florida, for Hickson Motorsports on his teammate that leads. Heavy or prolonged contact, absolutely talked about in drivers' meeting and reinforced in effectively a communique that went out before the race today. What nobody wants to see is cars in the wall here. We've managed to make sure that that doesn't happen. And Luca Mars maybe off the pace here for Copeland in the bright orange, black and silver car. He's dropped away from the battle. He was just outside the top 10 and he's dropped away for the moment. Meantime in the lead. Sorry, Shea, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I can't tell if Luca Mars has stayed out on the track or if indeed he's come into the pit lane. There's nothing showing up on timing to indicate that he came in, but he was slow coming out of Speedway 4, so clearly something going on with that car.
So we are halfway through, exactly halfway through the first round of the Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Cup with presented by BF Goodrich Tyres, and now we see the problem for the car that was battling inside the top 15 or so, has now dropped a lap, and Luca Mars has had the ignominy of the leaders going through, so there is clearly some kind of problem for the driver as the leaders come out of the bus stop once again for the 11th time. The 2-litre Sky Active engine singing in the evening sunshine, and again the bump draft between second and first, and indeed the third place car of JTR Motorsports, the number 96 car of Jared Thomas, the man from Indiana. He was giving a little bit of a helping, well, nose, if not hand, to the second place driver through the tri-oval. I think what the race control and the race director will be looking at is making sure that they are not getting people out of shape on the banking or making contact under braking. These top four have actually shared, all right, there's been a bit of contact, it's been incidental contact, and for the moment they are all still, all four wheels in line, and that's what the race director will be looking for.
Yep, and I think we got an answer as to the Luca Mars issue dropping down so slow, because we've had a penalty called for continuous contact. It's a warning for now, but it was between that car, the 41, and the 43 of Joe Atanasio out of Windermere, Florida. So that tells me that perhaps they were sustaining contact, and maybe Luca's car got a little bit wiggly out there, but it does mean that race control is watching, and we do know that they will be more and more severe as the race goes on. Particularly any last lap antics will not be dealt with.
Yeah,
in a kind fashion.
Well, indeed. Copeland Motorsports, Joey Atanasio then from Florida down the road at Windermere, not that far away from where we are now. And I wonder if Lucas' car's just maybe got a little bit of damage and he's slightly overheating the Sky Active motor. Under 20 minutes to go now, well into the second half of the race. The BF Goodrich tyres standing up very nicely. Thank you very much indeed. As this phenomenal battle, I'm not sure where I'd want to be at the moment. We've got Hickson Motorsports first and second, with Preston Pardus from, he could not be any closer to home. He could throw a lug nut to New Smyrna Beach from where he is right now, and he leads from in second place his teammate Selen Rollin from Orlando. So we're talking about two Florida natives, first and second, and they are, in theory at least, working for the same team, but I think it's every driver for themselves right now, and these four have pulled away by about 5 seconds from the pole sitter. Remember back when we started some 20 odd minutes ago that Gresham Wagner from Williamsburg in the Spark Performance car was on pole position. He leads the rest of the pack and has the fastest lap with a 2:08.5, but at the moment he's 5 seconds back, and he'll be disappointed that he hasn't been able to replicate his one-lap pace in the race.
Yeah, and as it is right now, Gresham will get 20 points for his fastest lap and for getting the pole position, combining those two achievements. Preston Pardus needs to hold on for, well, no, I think he's done it, actually. I think he has led every lap up to this point, so that means that he gets 10 points. But race control is watching. Selen Roland has fallen under their guys, under the naughty boy step. He's been issued a warning for continuous contact. So race control watching that 87 machine. That's the gray and yellow one. And let's face it, it is quite easy to watch. Very bright out there. But he's got that warning already attached to him. If it happens again, it could result in time added to his finish and then potentially a drive-through.
Yeah, continuous contact is what they're looking at. There are radio sets in the cars. It depends how much your team want to hand to you, and you have to have a spotter here at Daytona as well. And we talked about Lonnie Unser earlier on, and obviously a fantastic motorsport dynasty share, and her spotter is another one of that dynasty. She's running in 20th at the moment.
Very much so. The Unser family is one that everyone who grows up in racing knows, everyone who grows up as a fan. She's the daughter of Johnny, whose uncle is Al Sr. Yes, there will be a quiz on that later, so you better draw your little diagram. But her father, Johnny, is up on top of Daytona International Speedway right now, way up there where you can see pretty much all of the track. There's a slight blind spot as you go into turn 6. But other than that, he's the one in her ear trying to tell her when she's clear, when she's safe, and if she needs to go a little bit faster here, and her response could be, well, you come down and do it then, Dad.
Yeah, and I'm sure those conversations will be going on. There's nothing better than being right on the top of the grandstand, looking down on the Daytona International Road Course many years ago. In fact, my first ever visit to Daytona, I was fortunate enough to be invited up there. It was a cup race, and oh my goodness, it's a different world up there, and that's where the spotters are. They're relaying their information to the drivers. It's even in a small open sports car like an MX-5, it's not always easy to see where people are. You are enclosed with a full face helmet. You have a hands device, the special safety seat, which is one of the more than 250 parts, specific racing parts that are added to these MX-5 Cup cars, has sort of ears that come round. It's really difficult. Your peripheral vision does so much, but then you've almost got to hear and smell and feel the cars around you. That's where your spotter comes in, particularly when you're on the high banks of Daytona and the World Centre of Speed. We're down to the last third of this race. In the first round of the Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Cup, battles right throughout the field, as in 16th position, the black Hickson Motorsport 72 car has got 3 challengers behind.
Ooh.
My goodness me, that is very tight indeed. That's Grisham, Hernandez, Hickson and Altsman all there, looking for the odd place here or there. And this is how the championship's going to be, Shea, all season long, whether we're here today and tomorrow at Daytona, or whether we're on the road courses later on in the season. This is MX-5 racing at its absolute best.
Yeah, we've got, after this weekend, the streets of St. Petersburg to go to. So a street course for these cars. I can't wait for that. Then off to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Get your popcorn ready for that one too. A technical circuit that definitely will show off the enhancements of these MX-5s. Up north of the border to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, one of my personal favorites. The Alana Long 100 at Road America the first week of August. That's going to be awesome. Off to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in mid-September. Who doesn't want to go to Monterey in September? And then finishing up the season at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta in October. It is simply an awesome calendar that Mazda has put together this year.
It doesn't matter how early in the morning you've got to get up to drive an MX-5 car at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. I know, I've done it. Didn't necessarily cover myself in complete glory. It was all fine till it wasn't. Thank you, Mazda. But these cars suit so many different circuits, and the road circuits, well, you know, on any given weekend, more Mazdas have been raced on road circuits around North America than any other manufacturer, and the MX-5 has absolutely led the charge for anybody who thinks they know about driving. If you haven't driven a 3-pedal MX-5 with an H-pattern stick shift, yes, I know the race cars now have got the Sadev 6-speed sequential. This is pure driving pleasure. Pit yourself against this. That's what it's all about. It is the joy of driving, whether you're on the street and your favourite country road or across the top of the mountains, or whether you're on the track here at Daytona International speedway and the world centre of speed. That's what MX-5 is all about, and that's what we're seeing today. And these four at the front of the field. Now, nothing's changed for a few laps. That doesn't mean nothing is happening. And in fact, we've just seen a spin and some right rear suspension damage for the number 92. What a shame
that has been.
Yeah, that is Lonnie. That's Lonnie Unser, who has clearly had a coming together with something. They are just coming out of, oh my goodness, coming out of the bus stop. And did something break there? Because I think the right rear suspension looks like it may have had a problem. It certainly didn't look like it was. Yeah, the right rear wheel is not towed in the right way. It's pointing too far at the middle of the car. And that car, the Swamp Dragon Liquor Hot Sauce car, is going no further. Now, will we get there in a full course caution just to try to try and get that car clear? We've got 11.5 minutes left. And if you think, by the way, that these cars sound loud, even in the wide open spaces of Daytona, well, do you know what? You'd be absolutely right, because the mufflers have been removed here. Not necessarily just to give more noise, it gives a little bit more performance, and it makes the cars breathe a little bit easier. Pardus leading the current reigning SCCA Spec Miata national champion comes through the area that we've had the problem. Yellow flags will be out here. That's local yellow. Lonnie's car is off the racing line and down on the apron. I think we might race here, Shay. I think we might continue to race.
I think we're going to stay green. Race control doesn't want to throw a yellow because it would just take so much time out of this brilliant green flag contest that we've had, as Michael Carter was going around the outside trying once again to get around Jared Thomas. But Jared has not made it easy, making him go the long way through turn one. And is Carter going to have enough of a run this time? He's definitely further up than he has been, but no, coming into the braking, the door closes once again.
So further down.
Oh no, we went yellow.
Oh, we have gone yellow. 10 minutes and 5 seconds to go. We've gone yellow. We will see the Mazda MX-5 ND safety car on the track. I don't think it'll take much to get Lonnie Unser's car out of the way. Race control absolutely doing their best to allow Lonnie to try and get that car away, but I do think it's got some suspension or maybe some drive damage from that very vicious spin coming out of the bus stop. So it'll be Pardus, Villani, Thomas, Carter, Palermo, then Wagner, Nunes, Paley, Piscatel. Now Justin Piscatel in that Macumbi Macalia Racing on the restart, 9th position. What can he do? Safety car has picked up the field. It'll be a question of whether Lonnie Unser's car, that blue and green machine, the number 92, will take a flat tour, whether it needs to be lifted, as to how much time we have left at the end of this one. Time counting down, under 9 minutes. I think they're going to have a go with just a tour, which is great because the pit lane is 15 seconds away from where the tow truck is right now.
A bit longer than that. She's just past the exit.
Well, yeah, true. I would say thank you very much. I have to say now, thank you very much indeed to our marshals. I know they're listening here at the circuit. Also, track services, recovery, and of course, the medical staff, as well as our AMR, IMSA medical intervention team, who are on the scene there. They weren't needed. This was a car issue rather than a person issue. Oh, magnificent. It is a flat tow shape. I think that we are going to be ready to go probably at the end of this lap, actually, with the safety car coming through the bus stop now.
Yeah, given how long it takes for the cars to come around to complete a lap, 2 minutes. and 10 seconds thereabouts. And while we're on lap times, by the way, shout out to BF Goodrich, because these tires have not dropped off at all during the course of the race. The lap times have been super consistent. So I'm impressed with what we've seen from this G-Force 215 for the first time in this racing season, particularly at Daytona. It's not easy to build a tire to race on Daytona, and they have.
Take a breath. We've settled for a moment. The safety car lights are still on, and if we go, I think we're going to go one more time around. So we're going to be left with about 5 minutes, just under 5 minutes to go, I reckon, for this one. Right, where's your money? I'm going to ask you that now, because obviously everybody's closed up. Justin Piscatell will not be happy in the 89 car in 9th position. This is a driver who has a reputation. He's come into MX-5 with a good reputation. We know what he's done in other IMSA categories. He's the pole meister. Every time we've seen him in a car in whatever class he's been in, he's tended to get pole position. And the Macumbi-Makalia Racing cars are only 8th and 9th, and Justin will not be happy in that number 89, sitting in 9th position right now.
Where's my money? It's on a Mazda MX-5 Cup car in the field, because good luck choosing any one of them.
That.
I have just gotten the word, and it is 1 to go when they come by the line and see the green flag. This is a green-white checker. Preston Pardus is used to green-white checkers. He has a NASCAR background. He runs in the Xfinity Series every now and then. He is the reigning, the SCCA Super Sweep champion from taking that, and the SCCA runoff champ at Indy and Road America. Oh, how much he would love to add the prestigious Daytona International Speedway to his list of places where he's run. I've had a hard time looking at any other car today because he's been in the lead the whole of the race. I'm going to have a hard time picking anyone but him.
He's done a good job, but he's got to get the restart nailed. Not an easy thing on the high banks. Bit of waving going around to keep the heat in the BF Goodrich tyres. The Mazda MX-5 ND safety car, lights are out. It will pull away, and the safety car then leaves the field about now with what beautiful light we have here at Daytona. And it will be then the number 42 who brings them back to the line, and that is Hickson Motorsports' Preston Pardus from down the road at New Smyrna Beach, Florida. I was going to say, when does he put his foot down? He can't wait. And the problem is, the Mazdas, even though they're an open top car, they do make a big hole in the air. There is an opportunity for drafting here, and that's exactly what's going on. Look at Roland in second place, and in third, the JTR car, that silver and yellow machine. So 4 minutes to go. That's this lap, and I think one more as they come through. The green flag waves. We'll see the white flag. Oh no, we've been told that. Oh, and behind, off on the infield, the red and white. Oh my goodness, that was a huge save. Was that Wagner in the Spark Performance car?
No, that was Michael Carter.
It was Michael Carter. Yes, you're right.
It was Hernan Palermo who went a little bit early, John, in that bright yellow machine and got into Carter slightly. The 20 is all over the track right now. It was also Grant Wagner who was getting a little bit wild on the restart. I wonder if race control is going to have another look at that. But somehow they all survived turn one.
And the leading quartet becomes a trio. It's still Pardus for Hickson that leads. Oh, and this is, well, we got a word that this would be the last lap. I wonder whether we'll see I did not see the white flag, Shay, if I'm honest, over the start-finish line.
Not too much time left on the clock.
I think there'll be one more lap around after this one. Oh, my goodness me, could we have any more drama? What a brilliant run it's been for Preston Pardus for Hickson Motorsport. And once again, the teammate in the 87. Just a little bit of bump drafting in that car in second. Selin Ronan from Orlando. And look at the third place car. Here comes Thomas. Thomas trying to get a bit of a draft. There's an overlap here into the bus stop. One more time around at the end of this. The top 8 or 9 are together. If anyone makes a mistake here, anyone in the top 10, all the way down to Justin Piscatel and Brian Ortiz now, by the way, is up into 10th position. He's got ahead of Atanasio on the restart. So Brian Ortiz is inside the top 10 now in the number 4 car. And anyone in the top 10. And look, the brake light's coming on from the second place driver. He's not actually braking, he's just riding the brake with his left foot so he doesn't run into the leader. And wide and high on the top side. This is an extraordinary run from Wagner, the Spark Performance car that was on pole position. He's gone up into third for the moment. The red, white and black car tries to get into second. He's not going to do that, but I think he's going to muscle his way into third. He's on the inside for the right-hand turn. What a run from Wagner. What a brilliant run from Wagner. And that shows the speed that the pole sitter had. And Gresham Wagner is up into third. Can he get any further up the field, Chair?
Yes, he can. With that sort of determination, Gresham Wagner started that rerun a long way back. The top 3 were starting to check out. We saw them bump drafting each other with the sustained contact once again from Selin Ronan on Preston Pardus, but it didn't matter. Gresham Wagner had the hole in the air. He had the draft, and he was making his way up to the top 3, nearly getting around all of them going into turn 1. Very aggressive move, but it worked. And now the car that started on pole looking to try and get the most points from the day by winning the race.
I love how there's a little tap on the brakes from Gresham, the man from Williamsburg, the Spark Performance car, the red, white and black car. Any one of these top 4 could still win. There is the run to the line now. Here they come. Is it going to be Preston Pardus? I think he's done enough. Oh, I'm not sure. I've said that. And down the inside, he goes. Roland into the bus stop for the final time. Beautiful flat slide by the leader. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I really don't know. I've seen races from this position here at Daytona won by the car that's 3rd or 4th in the line. It could even be Gresham Wagner who was on pole position. He benefited from the full course yellow when Lonnie Hunter's car, and all of a sudden from line to stern it's 1, 2, 3. It's going to be 4 wide as they go on the line. I've got no clue at all. The Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 round 1 of 2020. It could be any one of 4 cars, and it's Wagner. Wagner wins from pole position. Extraordinary. You look at this, you look at the grid, you see the 5 car started on pole, you see the 5 car wins at the end, you think there's nothing to talk about, and yet, extraordinary stuff. At one stage there, Shea Adam, there were 5 cars across the track here at Daytona. MX-5 racing, absolutely quality.
Wagner knew that if you go all the way up to the wall, you carry a little bit more speed through. Jared Thomas putting 2 wheels down below the yellow line, and our leaders for the entirety of the race completely enveloped by a swarm of cars behind them. That was the sort of instance that you didn't want to watch, but you couldn't find yourself looking away. And Gresham Wagner finally starting out this season as the championship points leader, getting the win at Daytona International Speedway.
Hannah Palamo in the bright yellow number 20 Slipstream. What Slipstream performance car living up to its name at 4th position for him. The leaders coming out of the bus stop. Pardus finishes 8th. Roland, who was 2nd, finishes 7th. An extraordinary run to the line, but in some ways I'm not surprised at all, because that's what we've come to expect with Idemitsu MX-5 Cup Racing, presented by BF Goodrich. 4 tenths back from 1st to 8th, Jeremy. Shea, excuse me. 4 tenths.
My heart goes out to Preston Pardus. Led every lap of the race except the last one, swallowed up by the pack. passed even by his best friend and wingman for the entirety of the race, brings it home in the 8th position. That is not the result that he wanted, and he might learn something from today to go into tomorrow, i.e. you don't want to be leading on the last lap.
Well, he did nothing wrong, and he comes out, even as he comes out of turn 4, he's doing all right, and Rollins with him. Then down the inside, we've got a couple of cars, but it is up on that high side that Gresham Wagner makes the move and drags through as well the number 24 car of Aaron Johnson, the Provision Motorsports car, and he gets through as well. Excuse me, no, that was the McCumbee McAleer racing car. That was the 28 that came through. Jenson was a little bit further back in 9th position. Oh, my goodness me. What an awesome way to round off the daylight running at Daytona for Thursday of the Rolex week. We'll have a chance to have a chat with those that have won in a little while. For those of you on IMSA radio, well, you've got to say that the only lap that it counts to lead is the one that comes to the checkered flag. It's a hard lesson to learn for Preston Pardus, who led everything coming up to the line, but not the last quarter of a lap. And the man who started on pole position came through to win it. Well done to Gresham Wagner. That was Mazda MX-5 Racing, live from Daytona.